Welcome to Viewlittle, week 23.
Week 20?
Nobody told me there'd be a dragon!
We're doing something a little bit different this week in an effort to fight off the Sunday Sleepies. We're recording before our week 23 viewing of Dolittle. Since we're talking in this episode about the comparisons between Dolittle and Doctor Dolittle,
yeah.
We watched those last week as a double feature. So, what's better than one Doctor Dolittle?
Two
Doctor Dolittles. They are Robert Downey Jr. and they're Eddie Murphy. They're both the Doctor played straight among a bunch of animals that add the comic moments.
Yeah, except Eddie Murphy's kind of funny the entire time.
Well, that's because he's not doing a ridiculous accent and he's a better actor than Robert Downey Jr.
I mean, that's a little harsh. Do you think he's just straight up a better actor?
I
do.
Do
you think it's the role?
I think he is straight up a better actor.
Because part of it is this is like
I think that his range of acting is larger than Robert Downey Jr.'s.
Oh. See, I would argue it's a little smaller because this is like, I've never seen Eddie Murphy when he's like in a good movie when he's not in this sort of role.
Robert Downey Jr. plays the same character in every movie.
That's true. So is Eddie Murphy, though.
Okay, that's fair.
I mean, yeah, I think the accent is such a killer. Like, I think just base level, if he got rid of the accent, the whole movie would be better.
Yeah.
Part of the reason why Dolittle's weird is like the Doctor doesn't really do too much. You don't really ever root for him. He doesn't really do anything heroic. Like, he stalls the tiger until he saves Chi-Chi, or he throws the fruit to Stubbins, who then saves the queen. Like, the most heroic thing he does is the dragon enema, which is gross.
I guess that's fair. But they're filling a similar role in that they're playing the straight man to the surrounding cast of characters that are funny inserts, which sort of made me mad how similar a lot of the things in these movies are. I think that in the rewrites of Dolittle 2020, they went back and they went, you know what? We need to make this like Dolittle 1998. That's what people are expecting.
Are you talking about the enema scene?
That's part of it. The two medical scenes in Eddie Murphy's Doctor Dolittle. It's a tiger's headache and it's a dog's butt with a thermometer. And in Dolittle 2020, the two scenes are a tiger's headache and a dragon's butt with a leak.
I mean, if we're being exact, it's the squirrel and the dragon. The tiger. There's not like a procedure or anything. But I will say, the point that you're making is that there's a tiger with a headache.
Yeah.
I think comparing and contrasting, though, the climax is like, I don't know. It's really good. It's like what a climax should be. It concludes,
in Eddie Murphy's.
Yeah.
All of the arcs wrap up together.
It's such a good like final surgery. It's kind of silly because the tiger can literally feel where his blood clot is. And that's not really a real thing. Because it's like Eddie Murphy like, oh, where is it? Where is it? And the tiger's like, it's right here. You got it. I feel so much better. And it kind of sounds like they're lobotomizing the tiger. And then in Dolittle, it's the weird dragon enema. And it's not such a great climax. Because it doesn't resolve anything, really. It just like leads to them finding the fruit, I guess. I don't get what the climax is supposed to be.
That's fair. It's a bit muddier. It strings you along a bit more.
It's also a false climax.
Yeah, because Stubbins squeezing the fruit into the queen's mouth. Right. But there's not as much impact there. Let's talk about Stubbins, since we just mentioned him. Stubbins is Maya Dolittle. They're the same character.
Oh, yeah.
They're sad and different, and they feel like they don't belong anywhere. And through Dolittle himself accepting them, they feel like they belong.
What I know about Dolittle 2, Doctor Dolittle 2, is that Maya and the other one, I think, Raven Simone, I think they could speak to animals. At least Maya can. One of them can.
No, I know that's true. Because she's the one who gets all the future spin-offs, like Doctor Dolittle 3 and Tail to the Chief.
To the Chief.
Yeah. So on and so forth. Okay, other comparison points. we sort of touched on the tiger having a headache, migraine.
I will say that would have been a better plot in Dolittle
If he actually ended up on the island going into a surgery and helping Barry.
Yeah, or like if Barry was a bigger character from the start.
See, I wouldn't mind some of these things so much if it was just like Jip the dog looks similar to Lucky the dog as like a fun visual nod to the original Eddie Murphy movie. But the fact that they do stuff like a tiger with a headache and a doctor from medical school who went to school with Dolittle and is now his villain, they just literally are ripping everything from it.
Yes, so I looked this up. Moothfly is the original character. I don't think he's in the books at all.
I don't think so.
And yeah, it's very weird that so Paul Giamatti plays Blaine, which is already very close. Blair.
And then even in the movie Dolittle 2020, there's the joke. Blaine? Blair. Poop fling.
And
mood fly.
It's essentially the same character. It's like a obsessive, competitive doctor who's jealous.
Yep. And who's kind of like
incompetent.
Yeah. Those characters are, whenever Paul Giamatti came on screen as Blaine, and even visually he looks like Blair.
A little bit. Everything
about him is just, oh, wow, they just decided to take this character. What they did is they went, let's remake Doctor Dolittle 1998, but put it in Victorian era.
See, I'd rather watch that. Because, like, Doctor Dolittle is just a better movie, too. The premise is more fun. I guess the execution of Dolittle is the real issue. Doctor Dolittle is pretty well executed, except for the fart jokes, which are like potty jokes.
Mm-hmm.
But everything else is just well done. The animals are well done. For the most part, they're funny. The stereotypes are not great, but other than that,
they all play such a background role too. You know, they are just a joke character. They're just a joke line.
Yeah, and
I will say that the hamster. What is he?
Guinea pig.
The guinea pig inserts were like the useless Plimpton Yoshi inserts, where it was just really dumb and not that fun.
Yeah,
kind of annoying.
In fairness, the one where he first hears him and he's driving to like the place.
No, the ones where he's interacting with Eddie Murphy are okay.
Yeah,
but it's whenever he's going off on his own and it's like cutbacks to him doing things.
Yeah,
that are just like inserting Chris Rock.
Chris Rock is not funny in this.
No, he's not.
I think part of that is the movie isn't as good when Eddie Murphy is not in it.
Yeah.
He is like the sole glue. Like, I don't think that Robert Downey Jr. could be in Dr. Dolittle and it work. Like, it has to be Eddie Murphy.
If the movie had honestly been a remake and just set Dolittle 1998 in Victorian era, it would have probably, you're right, it probably would have been better. But instead they're like, oh, let's steal characters and ideas and try to plug them together in a way that doesn't make sense. And we're going to flip the butt joke and the headache. We're going to flip those and make one of them the big scene instead of the other. It's all not good.
I'm trying to think of what else is super similar. Oh, you do like butt.
That's super similar. The amount of the butt talk, super similar.
Another point for Dr. Dolittle versus Dolittle is Dolittle has a bunch of non-existent animals that just appear, like the tiger cub, the lion cub. That just says it's two jokes.
Those are similar to like the raccoon and the opossum, though.
Right, but they work better in Dr. Dolittle because they're like, especially when he's first starting to hear voices, they're like super stressful.
Yeah.
And then like later, it's like you've seen them before and it's just a joke and the jokes are funnier. That's not always the case, but I think overall. And then the fact that the animals are real is a big thing.
Yeah, the CG animals from Dolittle 2020 versus the real life animals and puppets from Dr. Dolittle 1998. See, Dolittle 1998 is more grounded in the real world, whereas the new Dolittle, Robert Downey Jr. Dolittle, is moving into the fantastic more, the adventure more. You know, they're harnessing whales. They're using steampunk machines to feed the animals.
That would have made the Eddie Murphy one better. Another notable thing is he's more of a doctor.
He's an actual doctor who's able to talk to animals instead of a veterinarian who decides to kind of help humans. There's a point of difference. There's sort of have alternate arcs of doctorship.
It is weird that Dr. Dolittle, he's like, I'm going to help animals because I know how to help humans, and animals are the exact same.
Right, whereas Eddie Murphy, Dr. Dolittle, is, I'm going to help animals because I know how to help humans, and animals are the exact same. Did we just say the same thing?
Yeah.
Oh. Whereas the other Dr. Dolittle is, I'm going to help humans because I know how to help animals, and humans are the exact same.
No, he doesn't really want to help anyone. Another huge issue with Dolittle is he just can't be sympathized with. Like, I'm never on his team. I'm never on Team Dolittle.
Yeah, that's fair. The Eddie Murphy Dr. Dolittle comes across that he wants to help people.
Eddie Murphy is, even when he's like doing his villain arc and he's saying like, telling his daughter she has to go to camp and like the guinea pig is a beast or a rodent, like he's likable in doing all that. Like he's not, you sympathize with him because it's a better performance. Like you're like, yeah, like I guess it makes sense that you want to send your weird daughter to camp just to give her the experience. And like everything he does makes sense. He doesn't seem dumb or stupid or evil.
Do you think Robert Downey Jr.'s does?
He seems stupid, or he at least seems like he seems manipulative because he literally doesn't do anything. Like he hooks up the whale with Yoshi and that's about it. His whole Rizzoli Island thing is he gets captured because he's stupid.
Blair and Blaine, aside from sharing 4 letters, also share a lot of similarities as these villain characters. But the villains in Dr. Dolittle work better than the villains in Dolittle, I think.
I think the Blaine character versus the Blair character works because he's a bit part. And he's not even really, he's like an antagonist in that situation, but the real antagonist is like the hospital. It's like being put in that situation, being crazy. And I do like how Eddie Murphy figures it out by just like blackmailing.
Both villains are pretty cartoony.
Uh-huh.
Like Lord Badgley is evil bad guy, poisoning queen, taking power. And the mega hospital HMO group that's buying out the hospital are obviously just like big corporate, the baddies.
Right. They got Frank Boyle though.
Yeah, that's true.
But it is like
they got Jim Broadbent.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, it's Peter Boyle. That's his name. He plays Frank on Everybody Loves Raymond. That's why I said Frank.
Let's talk ratings. Eddie Murphy, 1998, PG-13. Dolittle, 2020, PG. I'm guessing that the difference is the sex humor.
Yeah.
From Eddie Murphy's Dolittle. I'm guessing that's why the rating difference is there.
But this is like a movie that was made to be PG-13. Like, it's almost good enough for your kids, but all the sex humor is a little much. So what are your predictions for Dolittle 2? Dr. Dolittle.
I'm expecting there to be a lot more stuff that's borrowed. With hindsight now, I think that the studio, when they did their rewrites, were like, we expected this to be like Eddie Murphy's, so we want you to make it like Eddie Murphy's. So I think that both Eddie Murphy and both Dr. Dolittle and Dr. Dolittle 2 will have a lot of stuff showing up in Dolittle 2020. So I'm expecting to find more Easter eggs that way.
Yeah, and I think one thing that would have helped Dolittle 2020 is it shouldn't have been a funny movie. Like, I feel like if you cut out most of the humor, it would have worked better. But knowing that it was a Dolittle movie, maybe they pushed humor into it. Like, it kind of seems...
Yeah, I think that's definitely the case. I think the studio watched it and were like, this isn't Where's the funny? Where's the funny stuff? Why is this a serious movie? I think that happened. I mean, obviously the daughter Maya is going to have a bigger arc in Dolittle 2.
There's a bear. Could be named Yoshi. We really don't know.
We're gonna find out. Probably is named Yoshi. Is there an ostrich? We're gonna find out.
It's a brown bear. Or a grizzly. I really don't know, but probably a brown bear. Black bear. It's not a polar bear.
Do you have any Dolittle 2 predictions?
So for Dr. Dolittle, I said there'd be a lot of fart jokes, and I was pretty dead wrong. But Dr. Dolittle 2, I think there's going to be over 20 fart jokes.
Sticking with that, huh?
Yeah, because I feel like
under 10.
I expected Dr. Dolittle to be a trashier movie than it was. And it really wasn't that trashy of a movie. But Dr. Dolittle, I 100% know has to be a trashy movie.
Under 10. Under 10 rips.
Definitely 20. Over 20. Over 10? Sorry. Very sleepy today.
That's okay.
What else do you guys say about Dr. Dolittle? You're very excited.
I was, and I lost all my trains of thought.
I think I'm going to last all of 10 minutes in Dolittle.
Yeah, it might. We
going
might
to
have
destroy
to take a rain check and watch it separately or something.
Yeah, that might be a plan.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the plan. I don't really have anything else to say.
I know. What have you been up to?
Oh,
How's the lawn mowing going?
Yeah, it's good. It's going well.
I could see it's quite green out there.
It is quite green. We get some nice rain.
I'm really upset. I haven't had to mow my lawn in a while. It's been very nice. But with the rains today and 2 days ago.
We needed this rain. There's all these forest fire from Canada particulates in the air. We were breathing them in.
I mean, I would be okay with a lawn fire. If my lawn caught on fire and that was the only thing that caught on fire.
You know what you should do? You should grind up your yard and just mulch your front yard.
That'd be really funny to compost it.
Yeah.
To just dump my trash in the front yard. Banana peels, orange peels.
Throw them off your porch.
Would they red sign of shame me? Be like, no, it's a compost guy.
I don't think so. You might get in trouble for I don't know are there regulations against composting uncovered bins?
I mean, I'd be composting my whole front yard.
Right, that's what I mean.
So I didn't have to mow it.
So,
I mean, surely, right?
Because you got all kinds of little varmints.
The other question, can I just strip all the grass from my yard? Is that allowed?
I don't know why that wouldn't be allowed. You could definitely do that.
Because it'll look bad.
Well, the issue would be when it rains, that your yard would flow away.
It'd be a tough mutter.
It would be a tough mutter, all right. Your yard would be down the street.
So basically, I would expand my land.
That's one way to look at it. Except I'm pretty sure that actually your land would be shrinking.
No, it would be expanding because now my land's in the street, so I own the street.
It'd be cool if it worked that way, but actually the lines are invisible. They don't move.
Yeah, so they're invisible. That's okay.
You ate a lot of Pringles yesterday. That's cool.
Yeah, I got bored. I just sat there, ate tubes of Pringles.
35 tubes.
35 tubes of Pringles. Yeah, we did a Pringle Bracket. What's the best Pringle?
It's probably sour cream and onion, low reduced fat.
Okay, we have determined again that the optimal form of a Pringle is reduced fat because they're thicker and crunchier.
The crunch is better. They got a better crunch to them.
Because the issue with Pringles is they're kind of sad chips. They're not very good as chips.
They break apart into little pieces. They shatter very easily.
But they have a new flavor, and that's what the best one. There's a lot of scorching.
Were the scorchings all pretty good by comparison?
I would say they were all pretty good. Okay, the best flavor of Pringle is the Las Mares Habaneros.
Oh.
It's just scorching lime, if you have that one. Scorching chili lime or something. Except it starts with the pepper and ends with the lime.
Oh,
The
so
scorching
it's like a
lime
flip
is
of the
just
scorching.
yeah.
What was the worst one? That's what people really want to know.
Oh,
See, like
gosh.
from last time we did this, I remember it being
Rotisserie chicken.
Yeah, and the taste is still in my mind. I can't forget it.
Okay, so we kind of cheated. We had some. We went to a bunch of international markets, and they didn't have Pringles, but they had Lay stackers. So we used those in lieu of Pringles because you can't get them anywhere.
Okay, well, what was the worst? What was the worst then of the stackers as well? And then what was the worst
It would
Pringle?
have been. I don't know. It was some deli meat. It was some like ham or something.
How was the Philly cheesesteak?
The Philly cheesesteak one was eatable. Like
Really?
it wasn't.
That was one I suspected would be not great.
It wasn't great, but it wasn't like I think the horrors of the night was the anime barbecue and the like weird meat because. So at the end of the night, we were like, well, we did a blind taste test to see if we could tell which one was which, and like so we could determine which one was the worst. And we just like left the tube open, and the whole room stank. Like it just had a
Smelled like
stinky
Pringles?
smell. It didn't smell like Pringle. It smelled
Smelled
like
like dog
stink.
food?
It smelled
Steak.
like dog food,
Oh,
like
okay.
wet dog food. And it tasted like that too. And it was absolutely disgusting. Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that the worst chip wasn't a Pringle. That's cool.
I mean, the Philly cheesesteak was not good. That was the worst Pringle.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was by far the worst Pringle.
I guess I'm not surprised.
No, but it was...
Meat flavor in a chip. Artificial meat flavor in a chip.
Okay, going off of meat flavor in the chip. One of the weird... foreign ones, it's either Chinese or Korean, I don't remember which, was finger licking braised pork belly or something, and it was like a tasty. It had a little bit of the braised pork flavor, but it was like barbecue. It was kind of good. Yeah, and it was the only time eating a meat chip, and then like this isn't. Trash. Rotisserie chicken was like feet. It was like eating
Rotisserie
feet.
chicken was like eating the smell of spoiled lunch meat.
Yeah.
I guess we should say we've done this Pringles bracket before, like 2 years ago or something, 3 years ago. And now it's happened again with new flavors. Super funny.
The scorching are weird because they're generally better, but then also the whole dilemma with the Pringo tournament is that like we did around.
Did you do a blind seeding and then
yeah,
go
so
from there?
we did it a little differently. We did a draft.
Oh,
We each drafted a team and we seeded it
That's kinda
within our
fun.
own team. Let's see, my top pick was Reduced Fat Original. And
that's a good top pick.
it got knocked out by the Maris Habaneros,
Oh,
which was
the new flavor.
It is the best Pringle. As far as Pringles
The best
go.
regular Pringle?
Yeah, it's the best Pringle.
Even sour cream and onion reduced fat.
I think so.
Whoa, those are big words.
If it were reduced fat, it would be better. But the issue with the Pringo tournament is that there's too many. Like we eat a Pringle for each time. So the first, what we did is we did a play-in round we had the meats versus the veggies. So there's these cucumber chips and then tomato chips, and they did a playoff. And the cucumber got beat, which they kind of got unfairly beat because if they were against the pork or the lunch meat, they probably would have won. But tomato beat them, and then the pork got a free basically because the other ones were not good. But then we have to eat so many Pringles, and you get flavor blasted
for each matchup going through the knockout tournament. So you're eating one of each,
right? So
Okay.
it's a 32 team tournament. So, first round we eat more than 32 chips, probably more like 64. And then
You eat 2 chips on each round
it feels like it.
to try to
oftentimes,
so you eat one and you go like, and then
but you get,
go back and see.
especially with the scorching, you get so flavor blasted that your tongue, even after like we were switching salt water or like trying our best with palate cleanser, but Pringles just flavor blast you. And then it was like a chore. It's like, oh, we don't want to eat the scorching ones. And that's why reduced fat normal always goes far in the tournament.
Because it's so nice. It's such a nice release.
If it can win the first round, there's a good chance it'll win the tournament. Because it just doesn't taste like anything, and that's great sometimes. But the habaneros was actually a good Pringle. Would buy those.
Okay.
Not
praise.
For $3, but
high praise.
Do you
for
remember
Pringle.
when Pringle tubes were like $1?
Yeah,
or $1.50.
I feel like the last tournament they were $1.50, weren't they?
Yeah, now they're like
that was
$3.
only 3 years ago.
And like they're a chip that are meant to be sold for $1. They're really trash chips.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's why I'm so surprised that you guys went out of your way to get Lay's chips and things, because it's like you already had a billion chips.
Yeah, we only got 8.
That's still a lot. It's a lot.
Okay, but they had zany flavors like Trefoche. The truffle ones were actually, you would not like them because you don't like truffles.
They taste like truffles.
They taste like truffles. Yeah, exactly like truffles. It was delicious. There's seaweed ones that taste like seaweed.
That would probably be better.
Yeah, I mean, I really like seaweed. That's another hard sell flavor. There was spicy crayfish, which those were really good, but they taste like they're supposed to. And for the most part, those chips were all pretty good. There's just the 2 that were terrible.
It just adds such a high volume of chips to your bracket. That's why.
The ringers was
really funny.
This brand called No Brand, and they were sweet potato chips, and they just swept through all the Pringles because they, on top of tasting delicious, they were a good chip.
See, yeah,
they had a structure. They were crunchy. They were just no way a Pringle could win.
See, that's why it's unfair to bring them into a Pringles tournament. I think
100%
I get that they're
unfair.
a stacker chip, but it's not a stacker chip tournament. That's
so
all,
the
that's all
reason
I'm
why
saying.
we brought all these into the Pringle tournament is so we could have more variety, because they're
sure, but when you already have 25 canisters of Pringles, do you need more variety?
no, probably not.
Yeah. Anyway, we've had more fun talking about Pringles than talking about Dolittle.
Gosh,
That's for darn sure.
If I had to eat a can of Pringles, every day, or once a week, I had to do a Pringles.
52 weeks.
For 52 weeks, I had to do a Pringle tournament. I think I'd much rather watch Dolittle. Pringles suck.
We're gonna go our separate ways.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some Sunday Sleepies. We're gonna watch Dolittle.
For note, I slept 3 hours last night, and the night before I slept like a solid.
It's because your
5.
your blood was flavor blasted.
Yeah, no, it was because I wanted to do the Pringles tournament, and I had to face the consequences. And now it being so late, with it being like 3,
Yeah,
it's bedtime. I shall sleep until 3, and then I will go to work.
we'll be back next week with more Doctor Dolittle 2.
Dolittle.
It's a double feature week next week.
It is a double feature week.
Dolittle and Doctor Dolittle 2. So we're gonna get out of here.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Nobody told me there'd be a Pringle.
Oh, that's a big bite.